Welcome back to another video with That's Awkward ASMR. My name is Tatiana, and today I am going to be talking about Kirby in the Forgotten Land. If you enjoy ASMR gaming reviews, definitely be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like this video. That way these videos can get pushed and even more people can get some more ASMR gaming reviews. Also be sure to comment down below what you think about this game, or if you're thinking of picking it up, or what you thought about this review. Without further ado, we're gonna jump in. I just want to let you know, I never go into, well, if I go into super deep spoilers, I usually let you all know. I am going to talk a bit about the beginning of the game, kind of the setup for the game, and then I probably won't touch much story after that. There will also be footage laced through from the first 2 hours of the game. I just want you guys to know that's going to be in here in case you want to go into the game completely blind, then maybe this review isn't for you. Without further ado, let's jump into Kirby and the Forgotten Land. So, as you know, these reviews are very much off the cuff. It's just what I'm thinking about after I finish the game. This one's going to be a little bit like that. I've not written any points down. We're just going to talk about it. I just streamed this game on my second channel if you want to watch me play the entire game. It was a ton of fun. Chad had a really good time. There were some things that were weird, some things I didn't really like, some things that seemed a little broken in the game, which we will talk about, but for the most part, I had a pretty good time playing it, and my chat seemed to enjoy it, so definitely go check it out if you're interested. So Kirby and the Forgotten Land, going in, I really wanted this to kind of fill my 3D platformer, need. I really love 3D platformers, like Super Mario Odyssey as an example. That was a really good game. I really loved Super Mario Odyssey, and I've been sitting here waiting for another Super Mario, and we've just never gotten another brand new one on the Switch. As far as I remember, it's all been ports from old games, or they've had some DLC attached to an older Wii U game. Nothing brand new for the Switch like Mario Odyssey was. And so I was hoping Kirby in the Forgotten Land would kind of scratch that itch, kind of be that platformer that I wanted, and it very much was is like a Super Mario game. So that was really good. That kind of scratched the itch, so I was really happy to play it. I think that's why I had so much fun playing it, because I've been kind of wanting to play a game like that, and you can only play Super Mario Odyssey so many times. As a 3D platformer, it was really fun and enjoyable. We'll talk about abilities and things like that later in the video, but for now let's just talk about kind of how the story begins, and we'll go from there. The game opens up with Kirby on Planet Popstar, which is literally the name of his planet. I didn't know Kirby lived on Planet Popstar, but it makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world. Kirby is hanging out on his planet with the Waddle Dees. They all seem to kind of live in the same area, and then all of a sudden the sky just be ripping open with depression, just rips open or something. Darkness flows around. It gets super sad in here, big sad vibes, and then all of a sudden everything's just getting sucked up into this vortex or something. They get sucked up into the sky, and all the Waddle Dees, Kirby, everyone gets sucked in there, and it's all weird in there. Kirby's kind of getting messed up in there, and then Kirby wakes up on a beach. It just kind of goes to black. Kirby wakes up on a beach and it has no idea what's going on, and from there you basically proceed into this Forgotten Land. And then you basically want to try and find all the Waddle Dees that you can, while also meeting a brand new friend, who's kind of helping you along, and you go on this adventure together. That's basically how the game starts. That's pretty much all the story that I'm going to give you. That's the premise and backup, and all you need to know is the whole game you basically are trying to save all the Waddle Dees and kind of figure out what is going on, and why the Waddle Dees are being taken, who are they being taken by, what's going on, and you'll fight a series of bosses until you kind of figure out what's going on. It was pretty interesting, honestly. The ending was literally, the only way I can describe the ending is plus ultra, and if you know, you know. The ending went plus ultra, and it was pretty crazy. I liked it, but it was pretty crazy. It was unexpected for me. Very unexpected. So aside from the story being pretty interesting, I want to talk a bit about how the game feels to play. We'll start with that first. It's pretty good. It feels pretty good. It's pretty smooth. All of the You know, all of the movement from Kirby is pretty smooth. There's a ton of different like abilities that you can use, and they all felt really good, really unique. I guess we can get into the abilities as well. I guess this whole thing can be like the mechanics of the game. It felt really good. A new ability that Kirby has in this game, which I guess he kind of gets from I don't know, he just kind of has this ability now. And you can like suck in items like a soda can machine. You can suck that in and then spit out soda cans. You can eat a light bulb and you can glow. You can eat a car. That's a big one that's been memed. Like, this whole thing's been memed a lot. But the car, he basically like sucks in a car and like is stuck on top of it and then becomes Lightning McQueen. I'm here for it. There's a bunch of other items as well you can suck in, and then each of them has a different ability that you use to get around, or you use to fight different enemies, or to break cracks in the ground and get you to different places. So it was pretty interesting, the variety that they had, and each of those abilities felt pretty good to use. And so were the weapon abilities. Kirby can, as you know, suck in an enemy, and like certain enemies you'd be able to adopt their abilities, like spikes, or one was like a blaster, some were explosives and things like that. A lot of different abilities, and the best part about these abilities is that you can actually upgrade these abilities. You find these little scrolls all around the world and you bring them back to Waddle Dee Town, which you're slowly building up as you get more Waddle Dees. To, finish a level, go back there, see what's been built up. And eventually someone like a blacksmith can like fix up your weapons and make them really upgraded. But the thing is, it's not like the same ability upgraded. Like, for example, the bomb ability, the first one is just a bomb that you throw and it times and it blows up, right? The second upgrade, basically you can throw the bombs and they will attach to each other and then blow up. And I think the third one is they are now like a homing device, and they'll seek out the enemy at the same time as if they're close enough, they'll chain together and make a bigger explosion, which was really cool. So each level works differently in the upgrade, so it's kind of like you're getting multiple kinds of weapons with the same sort of mechanic, which was interesting. And that's each weapon that you get, like spikes turned into all kinds of different versions of spikes. Blaster became different versions. The sword evolves a lot as well. That way, like, every ability didn't feel like it was the same thing over and over. It felt like you had a great variety of abilities to use. I think there's like 8 or 7 to 9 abilities, and then all of those can be upgraded. It might be like 7, actually 6, or it might be 7 or 8. There's a lot. There's like a whole room, and I remember walking and being like, these are a lot of like abilities that I didn't realize I had access to. I didn't realize how many I had access to, so that was really cool. And upgrading them was always really interesting because you actually never knew what it was going to do next, because they were so different and unique every single time. So that was pretty neat in the game. I really liked that part of the game. The way that you also upgrade them was really interesting. You collect special stars from like timed levels. So like levels that you go in and you have, let's say in 50 seconds you have to make it to the end, and you'll be using one of the abilities that you can get and upgrade from enemies. So like, for example, let's say it's ice and you gotta throw ice and freeze certain things so you can get through to the star. And once you get the star, you can use these special, I don't remember what they were called, but it was a special pink star. And this star you would be able to use to go and use it as a currency to upgrade your abilities. And I thought that was really, really cool. So aside from the big mouth mode, or whatever it is, mouthful mode, I think it's mouthful mode. Aside from mouthful mode, you have these other abilities. So between these two things, like, gameplay was mixed up a lot. I never felt like it was repetitive, or I was doing the same thing over and over. It felt pretty new every time. And it was also challenging. Like, some of those timed ones were really challenging to get the stars. But you were determined to do it over and over within the right amount, because you'll get more money and more things that you can unlock, which was really cool. The next thing I kind of want to talk about are the enemies and bosses. This game by no means is extremely difficult. There is a option to play on what would be like the harder mode, and then a more casual mode. It's cool that they give you those options, in case, I don't know, maybe like for people that maybe aren't used to playing these types of games or get overwhelmed, it might be nice for them to play the the more chill mode so that they're not really, you know, stressed out or anything like that. And then if you want to play, you know, with a little more of the timed levels and things like that, then you can play the other mode. So that was cool that they gave that option. I'm always here for giving people options to play games in the way that they're comfortable playing them. I played on wild mode and it wasn't too difficult for me. I have played platformers before, so, you know, I wouldn't say like, you know, I didn't find it too difficult necessarily. It was really fun. The challenges were mostly, like, some of the bosses, it gets kind of hard, like, towards the end. The bosses got kind of wild, and I played, the reason I talked about co-op mode is because I played the ending bosses with my brother, and we both were like, wow, like, we were actually getting low on our health and stuff like that, so, you know, they were challenging towards the end a little bit, but not too much where I would say it was really hard or difficult. The reason I talk about co-op is because I ended up playing co-op with my brother. Towards the end of the game, we did like the bigger end bosses together, and it was still pretty difficult for the two of us to like do those bosses. It definitely gets a little harder towards the ending of the game, which is pretty normal for like a platformer. It gets, or any game really gets harder as you get towards the end. So the co-op mode, speaking about it, might as well talk about it, is really fun. It's drop in and drop out, so they can just drop in at any time. It's local co-op as far as I know. I don't think there's online. I think you just connect a controller, and then the second player, and what I appreciate about this one is, like, in Super Mario Galaxy they kind of say it can be a 2-player, but really the second player is just the light catching the stars, like you're not an actual character. And I remember when my sister Ellie and I were kids, that really bothered us when they would be like, it's a 2-player, and then the second player is like a blinking light. Like, it was not fun and it was not that fair. So in this game, you actually play as an entire character, which is cool. You play as Bandana Waddle Dee, which is a Waddle Dee who wears a bandana and has a spear they use. They can throw the spear, they can fly around, they can do all kinds of cool things. So it doesn't really feel like you're a complete side character. I mean, you can't do everything. Obviously, Kirby can, and Kirby's the main character, but I feel like, you know, if you have a sibling, for example, that it's probably not going to feel that bad. It's not going to feel like they're a blinking light in Mario just collecting stars. So that was really cool that co-op was included, and that there was a space for that for siblings to make good memories playing games, because I wish more games were like that when I was younger, where they treated the second player fair and they were a whole character. Because I think then I could have made better memories with my sister. Then she's like, why am I the blinking light? You be the blinking light, I'll be Mario. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So co-op mode works great. Working together is good. Sometimes there was something I noticed with co-op that if the main character runs too far away, and honestly, not even that far, like it wasn't even like Max was like out of the screen, but he would get like dragged to me really quickly because I'm the main character, so wherever you go, the second player gets dragged. So that was kind of like weird. Sometimes it would happen, I noticed, and I was like, you're not even that far. So that was happening. So keep that in mind. Maybe if that could be annoying. I found it a little annoying for him, but he never said it bothered him. I just thought it was annoying because I was like, man, he's over there. Why is he getting dragged over to me? What else? Oh, next we can talk a little bit about, let's talk about how the game looks. The game looks pretty good in the cutscenes and stuff. Sometimes I noticed, and I feel like I'm noticing this more now on the Switch than I noticed before, but I think it's called anti-aliasing. I always say anti-analyzing, and I know that's not what it is. I think it's anti-aliasing or aliasing, whatever it is. If you know, it's basically when the edges of something are kind of fuzzy and looking a little blurry and stuff. That's like how I notice it. It is really bad in Pokemon Arceus. It is atrocious in Pokemon Arceus. And in this game, it's there. Like, you might see it sometimes. I definitely noticed it. So if that's something that bothers you, I'm finding more and more that's something I'm noticing. But other than that, it seemed okay. I didn't really notice any other issues. I mean, it is like a 3D world game. It looked pretty good, I thought. It looks the way it looks. I don't think it's bad. I think coming from Pokemon Arceus, I would say it looks good, because y'all know I do not like how Pokemon Arceus looked. But, you know, Scarlet and Violet are coming out Anyway, that's for the Pokemon Arceus review. I will do a little review of that. Maybe it'll come out next week. We'll see. Something else in co-op mode that was very distracting that I noticed and like was actually a little frustrating, and Max was a little frustrated with it. Our bosses were only focusing on the Kirby. Like, it's almost like Bandana Waddle Dee was like not there. So like Max, we used it to our advantage because I would act as bait, even though I do the most damage to the boss. In some situations, depending on your power that you use, but like I would be acting as bait and Max would just be standing under there poking it, and it would barely notice him. It was only when he would poke it with the like his weapon that it would kind of look down and like notice he's there. Otherwise, they do not charge at him, they do not notice him. It was pretty interesting in that way that like he didn't exist, and we could tell that like the computer is not concerned about him. It's acting as if it's only Kirby there until it gets hit by him, and it'll briefly acknowledge that he's there, and then the AI just comes back at you, or at the main player. So just keep that in mind. Maybe they'll patch it because it was a little bit strange, and it was really easy when we realized that to defeat some bosses, because we're like, oh, you just stand over there and hit it, and I'll run around, and like we're at an advantage over it. So that's something to keep in mind with co-op. So another thing about Kirby in the Forgotten Land is that the music is really good, but it's too loud. Like, the music gets so loud sometimes in the game that it's distracting, and you cannot turn it down. Like, and I think I tried to go in the settings, and there was like no setting for turning down the game. It was like, go back to the main menu. So that was a little frustrating. I did have to turn it down quite a bit for even my chat because it was very, very loud, but you can't change it. So just keep that in mind, that the game can be, like, the music is very loud at some points for almost no reason, like nothing is happening. I noticed it more in the beginning than anywhere else in the game. Like the first 4 or 5 levels, I noticed it the most. But other than that, I didn't notice it too much. One aspect of the game I really loved was actually Waddle Dee Town. I'm not really going to show you too much of it because I don't want to spoil what's in there, but there were a lot of mini games, a lot of really cool little things you could do as the town develops, as you save more and more Waddle Dees. As you go through levels, you'll see there are different requirements to fully complete a level, but just getting the last Waddle Dees at the end, kind of like the star at the end of a Mario level, will basically move you forward, and it's kind of an open map in the way that you can kind of ride around on a star and get to different parts on the map and different extra things, like you're actually traveling through this land, which was pretty cool. There's lots of different biomes from, I'm not going to show them because I don't want to spoil anything, but you're mostly seeing the grass biome right now, but there's a winter, volcano, sand, like beach type one. There's like a carnival biome, so there's all these different areas that you can go to, which was pretty cool. It kept the level design different and interesting. Each place obviously has its own types of puzzles and things, mostly, and its own little like boss fights and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. I enjoyed each different place that you could go and the different enemies you would come across. Trying to find out which one would give you an ability was pretty fun, as you're trying to like suck them all in and then decide like, is this a cool ability? Am I going to upgrade this? And things like that. Each boss fight as well was extremely, extremely unique. They each moved very differently, operated very differently. From the mini bosses to the larger bosses, they all felt different from each other, at least. Sometimes you do fight the mini bosses a few times, and I found that sometimes repetitive. I think that's the only thing in the game I found was quite repetitive, was sometimes you would run into a mini boss, but it's one you've already seen before. So the mini boss fights were kind of repetitive for me, because you kind of did them over and over again. But yeah, other than that, I don't think anything was more wrong with the boss fights. But yeah, I think that's about it. The game was pretty straightforward, right? Like, I mean, it's a platformer. Like, there's not too much to like, I feel like, talk about, but it's a game that I feel like if you enjoy Nintendo games, especially if you enjoy games like Kirby games, or you like 3D platformers like Mario Odyssey, you'll probably like this game. I found it to be pretty fun, and it was a nice, cute little game to kind of play and like just dive into for a couple days. And there's even like a post game, which is kind of cool. So I have to play the post game, but that was I didn't expect that from the game. Again, the ending goes plus ultra. So, yeah, I really liked it. I really liked Kirby. All in all, I think I would give it like, an 8 out of 10. Like I was pretty good. Like I had a good time. It brought out the kid in me again. Like even the chat when I was streaming, it said you're acting like a kid and stuff because I would pose every time we saved Waddle Dees because this music would play and I would like bounce around, but like that's what I would do like if I was playing by myself. Like I was just having so much fun with it, so I felt like it brought out the kid in me. I felt like a kid again playing this game. It was a lot of fun. I love playing it on the go. I'll sit on my couch and play it and just cuddle up with my dog Bear, and I'll just play some Kirby, and it's really fun. It's also fun to play with people, but I feel like the only time I could get my brother to play was when I was streaming. So if you can find someone like a player too, it might be a fun thing to sit down and just play through. The game took about, I think it took me just over, I think it's 15 hours it took me or so, but if you were to 100% complete the game, it could probably take you well into like 30 hours, I would say. Depending on how good you are at the game, maybe a bit less, but there's a lot to collect, a lot of little secrets you can find on each level. That's what I'm doing now, is replaying levels, collecting Kirby's, because I'm having so much fun with it. So yeah, would I recommend this game? Again, if you like 3D Mario Odyssey type vibe games, like type platformers, you're probably going to enjoy this game. I had a good time with it. Kirby's super cute and awesome, and Kirby makes some of the funniest faces I've ever seen inside of this game, which is pretty funny, and I thought it was good. I thought it was good overall. If they made another one, I would definitely play it. I would pre-order it because this one was so much fun, and it was really nice just to get a 3D platformer that was made for Nintendo on Nintendo, and like, it's been too long. It's been way too long since we've had one of those. Like, why haven't we had another Super Mario? We've just had like Super Mario ports. Like, I don't know. Do you like Super Mario games? Do you like 3D platformers? Are you gonna try out Kirby and the Forgotten Land? Let me know down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if there's another game you want me to review, or if you've seen me play a game on my stream that you would like me to kind of talk about, whether it's a longer form or a shorter form video, like a quick one. Let me know down below. Let me know if you're going to get the game as well, or if you got the game, what you think about it. A lot of people I know said they would get this game, but later, they're like, that's not on my priority. That's like in the sale bin. It's everyone's opinion, but let me know what you think. And as always, I hope that you have sweet, sweet dreams of gaming.